Good, happy Saturday morning, everyone. I'm Riley King, and welcome to the Riley King Newscast, right here on the Riley King Network. Let's begin. First up, $1.3 trillion federal spending bill includes funding to fight addiction. Let's take a listen to the video from WMUR News 9, Mike Cronin.
Excuse me, are you aware of what's happening right now? We're facing 20 billion security events every day. DDoS campaigns, ransomware, malware attacks.
Actually, we just handled all the priority threats.
You did that?
We did that.
Really?
We analyzed millions of articles and reports.
We can identify threats 50% faster.
You can do that?
We can do that.
Then do that.
Can we do that? We can do that.
The president is happy about the boost in spending for the military and fighting the opioid abuse, but overall, he's frustrated and says it was rushed. The president didn't want to sign a $1.3 trillion spending bill, but says he had to for national security reasons.
But I say to Congress, I will never sign another bill like this again. I'm not going to do it again.
It avoids a government shutdown and increases funding for the military, along with a pay raise for troops. President Trump only got a fraction of what he wanted for the border wall, $1.6 billion. He blamed Democrats for not helping Dreamers, undocumented immigrants brought to the U.S. as children.
Well, it's disappointing, especially when the president's the one who reversed his position on DACA. He created the problem in the first place.
New Hampshire senators say the bill means an additional $3.3 billion to fight the drug crisis, including $142 million for states hardest hit by addiction.
And that will go for law enforcement, for prevention, for treatment, for recovery services.
While pleased with the funding, Senator Hassan calls the budget process broken.
Senator Shaheen and I have a bill in that would create a 2-year budget process for the federal government, similar to the 2-year process that we have in New Hampshire.
Governor Sununu says the budget is far from perfect, adding it appears the only way to rein in Congress's spending would be to move the nation's capital to Concord, New Hampshire, where we passed a balanced budget that actually reduced taxes while increasing services to those who need it most. Locally, the bill will also mean money for the New Hampshire fishing industry and a PFC water study, which could offer answers to families that are affected by contaminated drinking water. Live in the studio, Mike Cronin, WMUR News 9.
Okay, and there you go on that video and that report. Mass marijuana, new issues, questions after legalization. Massachusetts is now about 3 months away from the beginning of recreational marijuana sales. In the meantime, pot is already illegal for adults, and the realities or sometimes challenges of legalization are becoming apparent. And here is a look at the video and report.
Do you have high blood pressure? I'm Dr. Mark Schermerhorn, Chief of Vascular Surgery at Beth Israel Deaconess Medical Center. Learn what the new blood pressure guidelines mean for you and why leg health is as important as heart health at wcvb.com/health.
I picked up an eighth of the Arcata train wreck, Serious Happiness, and an eighth of Ghost Train Haze.
With a medical marijuana card and cash in hand, 5 Investigates hits the road with a state-registered medical marijuana patient on board to find out what's in your medical weed.
Cannabis, lemon walker, and clementine.
The patient bought 8 samples of cannabis flower and 1 concentrate from 4 dispensaries. Each product kept sealed and delivered within hours of the buy to 2 ISO certified testing labs registered with the state. CDX Analytics in Salem.
In Massachusetts, we're looking for almost 90 different things in the cannabis.
And Proverde in Milford.
Ultimately, it's about making sure this product is safe for people to consume.
The labs tested for heavy metals, pesticides, and microbial contaminants like mold and bacteria. All 4 of the samples tested at CDX came up clean, but 4 of the 5 samples bought off the shelves meant for medical use failed Proverde's testing. Cannabis flower from New England Treatment Access passed, but flower from Sierra Naturals and Patriot Care both failed for yeast and mold.
So a lot of bacteria.
But Dorian Delorier from Proverde Labs says the results from one of the 2 failing samples from Alternative Therapies Group in Salem are the most concerning. One testing positive for a high level of coliform.
And so if someone's using this for medicine, that's very concerning.
I wouldn't use it as medicine. I wouldn't consume that product with that level of microbiological contamination.
Alternative Therapies tells us they take patient safety extremely seriously and go to great lengths to ensure that products are free from contamination of any kind. Sierra Naturals says they have a rigorous testing program in place which exceeds state standards and prides itself on the high-quality product.
Okay, and there you go on some of that video and that report. If you want to watch that whole video, we will share the link with you, and the video is in that link. Scarborough superintendent accused of voter suppression. Let's take a listen to the video from WMTW News 8 Maine.
Very proud of this company, very proud of what I do and what we do here as a team. It dates back to Maine heritage and just working hard. We have a lot of really good people ready to go and willing to do anything and hardworking.
Tracy, tonight the Secretary of State sending a letter warning the superintendent that her office may be discouraging students from engaging in a local controversy, whether it was intended or not. Now, the people behind the petition want the superintendent out, too.
She tried to suppress their ability to go register to vote, and that is a huge no-no.
The petition drive to recall 3 members of the school board with the ultimate goal of reinstating a principal who recently resigned continues to heat up in Scarborough. Now the superintendent is accused of voter suppression after she shut down an in-school senior voter registration drive.
How many more to go?
A steady stream of petition signers, young and old, outside Town Hall today. Yesterday, students walked from the high school to the Town Hall to register so they could sign the recall petition. Now just a couple hundred signatures shy of what's needed to force a recall election. Parents angry today, saying students' First Amendment rights are being infringed upon by Superintendent Julie Kuchenberger, who halted the registration drive, citing complaints that some students were feeling pressured.
There was no bullying or pressure going on at all. These were just conversations that were had in the hallways between students. So again, no different than any other election that we may have, or the politics that they may discuss about other issues that are going on in our world, in our community.
The superintendent denying voter suppression accusations, saying the in-school registration drive was not planned or approved by school officials. In a statement, she says, quote, "At no time have I or would I attempt to suppress a student's civil right and duty to vote, and in fact, working with the town clerk, we regularly facilitate voter registration for our students."
And now the ACLU is involved too, sending its own letter to the superintendent. Live in the studio, Jim Keithley, WMTW News 8.
Okay, and there you go on that video and that report. Trump orders ban on most transgender troops. Let's take a listen to the video from ABC News.
Get half off the Galaxy S9 at T-Mobile.
And transgender people will again be allowed to enlist in the military come January. A federal court has denied the Trump administration's emergency stay that would have allowed the ban on new enlistment to stay in place. The White House plans to appeal that decision. Meanwhile, the Pentagon says it is preparing to allow new transgender troops to join starting New Year's Day. Basketball Hall of Famer Dennis Rodman is returning to his...
Okay, and there you go on that video. In a presidential term on Friday, President Donald Trump banned some transgender service members from serving in the U.S. military, saying transgender individuals with a history or diagnosis of gender are unable to serve except under limited circumstances. And that does it for the Riley King Newscast right here on the Riley King Network. I hope you all have a great rest of your Saturday, and I'll see you back here later on today for another newscast. Goodbye, everyone.